steak, potatoes, wheat, corn, chicken, broccoli, tomatoes, pork, lettuce, eggs, food. It's essential to every single person on the planet. No one can survive without it. For millennia, humans have struggled, sacrificed, and devoted countless lifetimes to sourcing and cultivating food. Yet over the last century, people have become disconnected from it, taking it for granted. Factors such as the general population's move from the countryside to towns and cities, the vast improvements in transport and storage methods, allowing people to simply pick their food up from supermarkets, restaurants, and even delivering straight to the door, without a second thought as to where that food really came from or the work that went into producing it. There are many methods of farming around the world, some better than others. Due to this, we get our food from a variety of different sources, sometimes not the best in quality, due to retailers wanting to slash prices and increase profits. As a society, we have not only alienated ourselves from where our food comes from, but how it's produced, the work that it takes, and the people that make it all possible. And we continue to ignore one of the best sources of food available to us, if not the best, and it's right on our doorstep. Local farms. In Britain, there are around 192,000 working farms producing the freshest and best produce available to us, most likely only a short drive, bus or train journey from where you live. So, we're going to take a look at one of these local farms and find out just where some of our best food comes from and what it takes to make it all possible. So, tell us who you are and how you got started in farming.
Well, my name's Alan McIntyre and I was born into farming really. My mum and dad had a farm through in the west coast at Inverkip, and just through helping them, working with them on the farm. And then from there, obviously I went to school and went to agricultural college at Oatridge, which is at Broxburn. And then from there, I've just grew into farming and I've worked for 2 or 3 different people. And I'm now where I am up in Perthshire and enjoying it very much so.
So, how has farming changed since you started from to present day?
I think the modern machinery has got to be a big part of it. I think even when I started, there was a lot more done by hand, where nowadays there's a lot more machines for it. But in generations even before me, they'd be even worse for doing it by hand, I suppose. But no, machinery-wise and like computers to do all your paperwork, all your kind of day-to-day management systems, is 90% of that will all be done in computers now, whereas before it would all be kind of pencil and paper jobs. And the subsidies is probably a big thing, that farmers get subsidies for different aspects of their farm. And as that changes, it probably means that farmers adapt to getting the subsidies or getting the best out of the subsidies that they can.
Brian, could you just tell us what the subsidies are, just quickly?
Well, the subsidies, they used to be if you had so many cows, you would get so much money per cow for having it, so many sheep. And then they changed it to an area payment. So no matter whatever size your farm was, you would get a payment for it. And you also get payments for, now the kind of most up-to-date ones is trying to help with wildlife and environment. So you maybe get payments for leaving a wee bit of barley standing so that birds can use it in the winter time. Just in general, environmental things is the main way it's going just now.
Brilliant. Do you believe that people are disconnected from where their food comes from, and if so, why?
The answer is yes, they are. But since this pandemic started, I think people will be a wee bit more knowledgeable, because I think people have realised what's on their own doorstep since the pandemic started, both holiday-wise and food-wise. And you hear people talking about food miles now, so people are wanting to eat more local produce. And what we produce in this country, it'll be the highest spec of a lot of countries out there. So we've got to use what we've got. And I don't know how, we're going to have to do more with schools. There's got to be some agricultural and going into young people at schools to make them aware of future farming.
What crops do you grow on the farm and what goes into that?
Well, My aim for the farm I want just now is to be self-sufficient. So I want to grow as much as I can to save buying fodder or any kind of straights in for the cattle and the sheep. So we grow barley, and from that we get the grain to feed cattle and sheep, and we get the straw to bed them. We grow beans, which provides us with the protein to mix with the barley for the feeding. We grow silage, which is our main buffer feeding for cattle and sheep in the winter time. And we grow a wee bit of hay just for kind of odds and sods, just general having, just for wee pens here and there. And from that, all we really need to buy, because we grow as much of our own, is maybe some minerals and whatnot to just subsidise it a wee bit like it.
What animals do you have on the farm, and what are their lives like here?
Well, we're in the cattle shed just now, so there's a lot of cattle here, and the cattle their lives here they're as good as, the time they're here, it's as good as it possibly can be. The sheep as well, there's sheep that are bred every year, and again, the quality of life, it's all we can do. That's why we do it, is to look after them. No point in having something if you don't look after it.
What happens to the animals once they leave the farm?
Well, when they leave the farm, the vast majority go to abattoirs at Perth for the cattle and Bridge of Allen for the sheep. There's a small proportion go through the live auction things as well, which is just based at Stirling.
And just for the audience, could you tell us what an abattoir is, please?
An abattoir is just a slaughterhouse where they go to get humanely killed and processed for the food chain for the general public.
Fantastic. And what are the biggest difficulties facing farming today?
Personally, I think the biggest difficulty farmers face is the climate. We're so reliant on good weather at lambing time to make sure the lambs go out in good condition. We want good weather to get silage and crops made in good conditions, but at the same time we want rain to make the grass grow. But no, the climate is the biggest thing that we are probably fighting against. And to an extent, possibly a very small proportion of the general public that think what we do is cruelty. It's not. We wouldn't do it if it was cruel. It's just everybody's entitled to their opinion, but it's not cruelty.
Final question today, Alan. Final question today, Alan. What's the best thing about working on a farm?
The best thing for me is, personally, it's what I enjoy doing and what I love doing. And as we've seen hopefully in the video just a minute or two ago, the cows and calves coming down the road and going out to the field, there's nothing better than that. You work with them inside or in winter positions, you get them calved in the spring of the year, you get them up and you get them going and you get them put out to the grass. There's no better feeling than that for any farmer, I'm quite sure. So that's it for me anyway.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Hopefully, we have been able to give you an insight into what goes into making some of the food we eat. And hopefully you've been able to take something away from this, whether it be shopping locally where possible, or even just simply appreciating what has gone into making the food you eat. And we thank you very much for watching this documentary today. Adios, mi amigos!
China, the Chinese chicken. You have a drumstick and your brain stops sticking. Watching X-Files with no lights on, with all our maisons. I hope the smoky man's in this one, like Harrison Ford. I'm getting frantic, like Sting, I'm tantric, like Snickers guaranteed to satisfy. Like Kurosawa, I make mad films. Okay, I don't make films, but if I did, they'd have a samurai. Gonna get a set of better clubs, gonna find the kind with tiny enough just so my irons aren't always flying off the backswing. Gonna get into my Sailor Moon, cause the cartoonist got the boom anime babes to make me think the wrong thing. How can I help it if I think you're funny when you're mad? Trying hard not to smile, though I feel bad. I'm the kind of guy who laughs at a funeral. Can't understand what I mean, you soon will. I have a tendency to wear my mind on my sleeve. I have a history of losing my shirt. It's been 1 week since you looked at me, dropped your arms to the sides and said I'm sorry. 5 days since I laughed at you and said you just did just what I thought you were gonna do. 3 days since the living room, we realized we're both to blame, but what could we do? Yesterday, you just smiled at me, cause it'll still be 2 days till we said we're sorry.